What if the way a man truly tests you isn't about what he says, but what he silently watches, waits for, and feels beneath the surface? Have you ever wondered why some men push boundaries quietly, almost without you noticing, to see who you really are inside? The answers might change everything you thought you knew about love and connection. There is a reason why patience is one of the first qualities men test when they are deciding whether a woman is truly someone they want to invest in. Patience is not simply the act of waiting. It is the way you wait. It is how you hold yourself when the moment does not give you what you hoped for, how you respond when answers do not come as quickly as you wish, and how you maintain your dignity when uncertainty hangs in the air. In relationships, patience is not a passive state. It is an active discipline, a quiet strength that communicates self-respect far more clearly than words ever could. When a man is interested in a woman, especially one he considers for a serious relationship, he often withholds certain actions or responses deliberately, not necessarily to play games, but to see the rhythm of her emotional world. If she expects instant replies, immediate plans, or constant validation, she reveals that her emotional center is externally controlled. But if she can wait without chasing, stay calm without accusing, and hold her own presence without collapsing into anxiety, he sees something rare, a woman who is not ruled by the clock of her emotions, but by the steadiness of her inner compass. It is important to understand that this test is not always conscious on his part. Sometimes it is instinctive. Human beings are naturally drawn to stability, especially in a world full of speed and distraction. A man may feel an unspoken question rising inside him. Can she handle space without panicking? Can she handle my silence without assuming the worst? Can she let me move at my own pace without trying to control the outcome? These questions are not always articulated aloud, but they guide his sense of security with her. Imagine two women in the same situation. A man she is interested in says he will call her later. Hours pass. The first woman feels a wave of impatience. Her mind races. Why hasn't he called? Did I do something wrong? Is he talking to someone else? She reaches for her phone again and again, sends him messages, and checks his online status. When he finally calls, her tone is sharp, her words laced with accusation. Even if he did nothing wrong, he now feels pressure around her presence. The second woman also notices the delay. She acknowledges a moment of curiosity, maybe even mild disappointment, but she remains anchored. She continues with her own plans, enjoys her evening, and answers calmly when he finally calls. She does not punish him for the delay, nor does she lose her composure. The difference between these two responses is not small. It is the difference between being someone a man feels obligated to appease and someone he is drawn to respect and cherish. From a physiological perspective, patience is deeply tied to how the body regulates stress. Impatience often triggers a rise in cortisol, the stress hormone. This surge creates restlessness, irritability, and impulsive behavior, which can push a partner away. Patience, however, allows the nervous system to remain in balance, keeping your voice steady, your expressions calm, and your words measured. In a moment when impatience could damage the connection, patience protects it. One woman I once spoke with told me a story about how she unknowingly passed what she later realized was a patience test. She had been seeing a man for several weeks when he suddenly became distant. He did not respond to her texts for an entire day, something that previously would have triggered anxiety in her. But this time, she decided to do something different. She told herself, if he is meant to be here, he will be. If he is pulling away, chasing him will not bring him closer. She spent the day reading, going for a long walk, and meeting a friend for coffee. The next evening, He called and explained that he had been dealing with a work crisis. More importantly, he told her, "I really like how you didn't blow up at me or demand an explanation. That says a lot about you." That moment shifted the trajectory of their relationship because he saw her as someone he could trust with both his presence and his absence. Patience is also a test of self-respect. If you demand instant responses, it can send the signal that you feel incomplete without constant validation. But when you can wait, when you can stand in the space between question and answer without losing your peace, you demonstrate that you are not desperate for reassurance. You are grounded in yourself. This does not mean tolerating disrespect or neglect. Patience is not about accepting poor treatment. It is about giving situations enough time to reveal their truth before you decide how to respond. Eastern philosophy often likens impatience to shaking a jar of muddy water. The more you shake, the cloudier it becomes. Only by setting it down and allowing stillness can the water clear. Relationships are much the same. When you push for answers before their time, you stir confusion. When you give moments the space to breathe, clarity rises naturally. This is why men often test for patience. It tells them whether they will be building a life with someone who can allow time to do its work, or with someone who will pull at the roots before the tree can grow. In the modern dating world, patience has become even more rare. The speed of technology has trained us to expect instant gratification, instant messages, instant replies, instant validation. But deep relationships do not grow in the soil of immediacy. They need the slower, richer earth of trust, respect, and presence. A man who is serious about finding a life partner is not looking for someone who treats a relationship like a text thread. He is looking for someone who understands that meaningful connection has its own pace. The patience test may appear in many forms. It might be in how he delays making plans to see if you remain gracious rather than resentful. It might be in how he pauses between messages to see if you can hold space without filling it with anxious words. It might be in how he navigates challenges to see if you can walk beside him without rushing him through his process. Each of these moments is a window into your ability to remain steady when things are not on your timetable. This steadiness is magnetic because it creates safety. Safety is not just about physical protection. It is about emotional protection. When a man senses that you will not erupt under pressure, that you can handle the uncertainties of life without crumbling, he feels he can rest in your presence. This restfulness is something he will not want to lose. Patience also communicates faith, not blind faith in the other person, but faith in your own ability to handle whatever comes. A woman who trusts herself is not afraid of silence, delay, or space. She knows that her value does not depend on constant interaction, and she knows that anything meant for her will not require frantic pursuit. This quiet assurance is what makes patience so attractive. It shows that you are not holding on out of fear, but out of choice. I have seen situations where impatience destroyed what could have been a promising relationship. One man shared with me how he had been dating a woman he genuinely liked. They had been moving at a natural pace, but 1 week, work consumed his schedule and he could not be as responsive as usual. Instead of trusting the connection they had built, she sent a series of messages accusing him of losing interest, of seeing someone else, of not caring. He tried to explain, but the tone had shifted. The pressure and suspicion had cracked something between them. If she had just trusted me for a few days, he said, we would have been fine. Patience could have preserved what impatience destroyed. It is worth remembering that the patience test is not one-sided. Just as men may test women for patience, life itself does the same. Challenges, delays, and uncertainties will always come. The person who can meet them with calm, grace, and self-possession will not only attract deeper respect from others, but will also find more peace within themselves. In relationships, patience is both a filter and a mirror. It filters out those who thrive on chaos and impulsivity, and it mirrors back to you the strength or weakness of your own emotional foundation. If you find it difficult to be patient, it is often a sign that you are relying too heavily on external reassurance rather than internal stability. The solution is not to force yourself